So it's official. I think everybody in here knows it. Half the people in here are coming already. Cape Cod, Take Your Power Back, Polar Plunge. I don't say that's the backbone of it. I think the music and the energy is the backbone, and us being in the same room, the collective energy and the opportunity of that. I just rented out a hotel in Cape Cod. Um, it's an all-inclusive retreat. It's going to be the first annual Dot Connectors retreat. I'm going to really work hard to make sure everybody there knows each other, which I think will just make the experience even more powerful. So February 26th to March 1st, put it in your calendar. If it works for you on your calendar, I don't ever tell anybody what to do, but I promise you it's going to be big. And it's the last 3 years of energy that we've been creating together, whether you are on day 1, day 100, day 200, 300, whatever it is. It's going to be really, really powerful and life-changing. So I'm really excited for that. So don't forget that. I'll be hammering that in your head and your heart and your soul for the next 2 months after I get back from my Dr. Joe retreat. I'm going to be hammering it home. So yeah, that's going to be big, guys. Everybody got to be there. That's just, it's going to be fucking incredible. A lot of big things going on in the background for that. So February 26th, March 1st, Cape Cod, all inclusive. Take Your Power Back Dot Connectors annual retreat. Hello, Peter. Good to see you, brother. Love that photo. I just saw a beautiful video with an eagle. All right, let's get 10:15 on the dot. Let's do it. Jessica, the subconscious belief coach, in the house. Captiva just plopped and dropped their couple seats in here. Let's go. What's up? Hey, Josh. Oh, hey. Somebody say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, me. I have a question, Robbie. So this 3:31, is that 3:31 a.m. in which time zone?
Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be 3:31. Even if you say fuck it, just wake up. Even if I go to sleep, I'm just waking up to do it. If somebody needs that like oomph of doing something you don't want to do, this is a perfect one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a perfect time to meditate too. I'm going to be sitting down in my chair. I'm going to be really gearing in on this one.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I just want to thank Rachael ahead of time for how amazing these next minutes are going to be as she shares, and for her vulnerability. And the more I get to know Rachael, the more I fall in love with her. She's just such a beautiful being. And so I'm just sending you lots of love, Rachael. Just speak from your heart. And you're just so beautiful, and we're so blessed to have you here.
Thank you so much, Mary Claire. That means a lot to me.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I wrote that down. So thank you for saying it for me. Something along those lines was kind of going to be my intro. So I appreciate that, Mary Claire, because now you can feel the ripple effect of the truth of who Rachael is and how she's been with the Dot Connectors for like 3 to 4 months. We met in DC, and just the impact she's made just on putting herself out there for herself and for others is very obvious, and it's very powerful too. And you stand your ground of who you are, which is also very powerful when you're around that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess let's get started. Okay, so everybody here pretty much knows the format. I'm gonna change the view, and Rachel's gonna be on the screen sharing her story. So if you guys had a chance, hey Mario, is that Mario?
Hey, yeah.
Hey, what's up, brother? How are you?
Good
morning. Look at Mario, full of energy. Let's go.
As I crawl out of bed.
I don't think crawling exists. You jumped out of bed. Don't. You know.
You're right.
You have a quick crawl if you do have a crawl. All right, so we're gonna get started. So Rachael, as I just mentioned, a bunch of us met Rachael in DC. She came to Lala and I's concert, and somehow I think she was friends with Gina, and that's how we stayed connected. And then she joined with the Dot Connectors. So in this time, we brought back the Sunday Journeys, and Rachael just, passing mentioned her story. I was like, I don't like to push it on anybody, just saying, if you want the platform, it's here so you can share it. And she was more than happy to. She was excited to. And then I think like a week later, her testimonial ended up on Dr. Joe's homepage. So I don't know if you guys checked it out, but it's pretty cool. So we're going to set it up this way, because the way that Rachael shared it with me is She basically came out of a meditation at a Dr. Joe retreat, which we all know how that feels, right? We're kind of in our own world. We're not 3D. We're somewhere else. And then someone approached her and said, "Hey, you want to share your testimonial?" Something along the lines. And so that's the setting of where Rachael was. She was really out of it, and she really wanted to dive into it a little more. So here's the opportunity and the platform for Rachael to dive into what she spoke about, the things that her body went through and the things that she overcame spiritually. So without further ado, Rachael, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Robby, for that beautiful
You.
intro. And thank you, everyone, for being here today to hear my story. Truly honored that you're here. I lost my voice a little bit last night. I was at a wedding and I was screaming on the dance floor.
Let's
Great.
go.
Yeah, so and my nose is a little stuffy, so I apologize for that.
Can I say so that your wedding you went to was last night without diving into it? You riding high, baby? Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Everything went really well. So and I know a lot of you were sending
awesome.
love and supporting me through that. So I really appreciate you all and
Hey.
couldn't have went any better. I feel very empowered and I'm on top of the world, you know? So it's all great. So thank you very much. But yeah, Dr. Joe says all the time that we live in this illusion that change takes time, but change takes one decision. So don't underestimate the power of clarity in the decisions that you make. The universe responds the moment you align yourself with your intentions. And that's exactly what I've experienced over the last few years. I used to live in the belief that reaching a certain level of happiness wasn't in my cards or wasn't part of my true nature. I realized that though that I had to experience the darkness in order to truly appreciate and become aware of like what true happiness means and feels like. So yeah, like Robby said, I'm sure a lot of you watched my testimonial. It was super short. It was like 3 minutes, just barely skimmed the surface of my story. Yeah, and when they filmed it, I didn't even know what I said. I walked away and I was like, oh my God, like hopefully they have some sort of clip in that they can use. I didn't even know if they're actually going to post it. So I was pretty amazed when it ended up on his homepage. Um, but yeah, I was like completely out of it, did not have my thoughts gathered in complete state of like integration. But I'm really glad that it was still inspirational to some people. So let's see, my healing journey really started just after my first job out of college. And my healing journey has always been like peeling back layers of the onion. It didn't happen all at once. Although my first retreat, as you saw in my testimonial, was where like a lot of the big healing happened. And I have to constantly re-examine and align myself with my higher purpose in more suitable environments over the years and over again to keep the process of healing going. So yeah, there was a huge need to heal after my teenage years that left me absolutely drowning in trauma and PTSD. Although I don't see this era of my life as difficult, I see it more as the catalyst to everything that followed. And it started my healing journey, and I gained so much wisdom from all the struggles that I endured. Now I couldn't be any more unbothered by my past triggers. And I've watched time and time again how overcoming my experiences has been a source of inspiration for others that will walk the same path. So it's actually pretty amazing. Anyways, I had a pretty good childhood. There was never a time where my physical needs weren't met. But unfortunately, I was exposed to some things at a very young age. And a lot of people forget that like 14 to 16-year-old boys can be predators, but unfortunately, I did not have the protection or awareness that I needed inside my own home. And actions weren't put in place until it was too late for me. So there was, a lot of nights where I went to bed praying to God that the lock on my door wouldn't fail, because people would be like standing outside my door, like jostling it, hoping that it would come loose. So I'm always sending my younger self compassion because I know how scared she was in those moments. And, like all of my first interactions with males were full of pain, shame, horror, absolutely terrible. But unfortunately, it did escalate to the point where one of my drinks was dosed, and that night completely shaped my life and mindset for the next 10 years. I held so much pain and anger from this era of my life. I felt like a complete victim. Um, I was like, why isn't anyone helping me? Why doesn't anyone see what's going on? I was just so angry at the world. I began self-harming, engaging in risky behaviors, trying to completely numb myself to the world and the reality that I lived in. I was put on numerous pharmaceuticals during this time, which made me feel like super flat, gained a bunch of weight, and didn't really solve any of my problems. If you knew me during this time, like I was like flat is the best way to describe who I was. I don't even know if I was really even laughing or smiling during this era of my life. So yeah, the entire time I was told I had PTSD. I was told that this is a lifelong condition that I needed to learn how to live with. Felt very defeating. Like all of the people that had hurt me, like now had control over my mental state for the rest of my life. I felt like constantly I needed to explain to people that I had PTSD so they would understand why I was acting so strange or didn't want to do something. And it like quite literally became my identity. So yeah, during, my late teenage years and my early 20s is when, in hindsight, I really start to see that the universe was always guiding me to exactly where I needed to be through the good, the bad, the ugly. I left my house at 18 and pushed myself through college. It wasn't easy with how much I was struggling. I missed a lot of classes, almost failed out a few times, but ultimately I got my act together, and actually finished college with a perfect score. And I got my degree in diagnostic genetics. Um, I knew that I needed help during this time and that I needed to change. I was absolutely drowning in the PTSD. And I recognized during this time that the PTSD was completely controlling my life and my actions. So yeah, during this time I started, talk therapy, and I was able to like let go of a lot of the anger in face of triggers, but still deep down, I was feeling so depressed and betrayed by life. So yeah, like I said, I got my degree in diagnostic genetics, and I picked that degree solely based on the paycheck. I was always interested in science, and I didn't really know what other direction to go in, but genetics really resonated with me, but not really at like a deep soul level. And it's interesting now, because I took Dr. Joe's abundance course in March, and he kind of explained the same thing in May at the DC retreat, so you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, but he explained how money is one of the lowest frequencies or forms of motivation when it comes to manifesting abundance. So it's no wonder why I felt so like out of my mind and out of alignment when I was at that job. Like, although I was like indirectly helping people, the direction I was taking my life in was completely lacking a deeper sense of purpose or meaning for me. And this is really when I started recognizing the universal guidance. Um, it couldn't have been any more obvious, like putting difficulties in my way. Um, and that's exactly how I would describe my job. Um, so the work in genetics field it in itself is pretty stressful and dangerous. Some of the stuff that we work with is pretty nasty. And one particular example I'll give of like universal guidance pushing me out of that job. We had we worked on a lot of infectious disease. It's a big money maker for the lab. And there was this machine that was like the size of a car that would do all the infectious disease testing. And it was PCR machine. If you don't know what PCR is, that's another topic of discussion. But basically, this machine quantified viral loads for infectious diseases. And um, quite literally, every single time I touched this machine, it would fail and break. And it was like a machine that like it had to be running multiple times a day. And every single time my bosses put me on the machine, it would break down without fail. We had the company come work on this machine like multiple times. And I even tried like my usernames of my coworkers and it would break every time. Nope, for no one else, just me. And we started wasting patient time and samples, so they just eventually took me off the machine, which was great for me, but I was just like, that was like a huge part of my job. So I was like, what do I do now? Um, but I was also very excited to be off that machine. So, it was a great thing that happened to me. But ultimately, there was a lot of other stressful things that were happening there. That's during that time is when I got diagnosed with the fibromyalgia. And yeah, I was in so much pain that when you're doing the genetic testing, you're like this all day. So you get like a lot of pain in your shoulders, but it started going throughout my whole body to the point where I like couldn't even walk to my coffee break anymore. So I was about like 25, 26 years old when this started happening. And I couldn't even stand on my feet for the entire day like my job needed me to. And I didn't have the time or opportunity to take care of myself. I was constantly working overtime in that stressful environment, but it was a big decision to walk away and a big paycheck to walk away from, but there's not one day where I've regretted it. But yeah, after I left that job is when I took my deep dive into spirituality. I was not really motivated to look for other methods of healing until I got the diagnosis of adenomyosis, which happened about a year after I left that job. I was 26 years old, and that day was so, so defeating. After dealing with the debilitating cramps during my cycle for about a year, they finally gave me that diagnosis. Um, Sorry, I got to take a sip of water here.
By the way,
Uh,
you're a champ. The day after a wedding, come on, let's go.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I went to bed late last night, so
you're awesome.
I appreciate it. Um, so yeah, they explained to me that adenomyosis is a progressive disease and it's just going to keep getting worse, and more painful until it literally leaves your uterus deformed and unfit for pregnancy. So the treatment options they gave me that day were like the surgery that was not very successful, that still left you infertile. Otherwise, it's a hysterectomy. So I left the doctor's office that day with pamphlets for hysterectomies and freezing your eggs. And I was 26. I was like, Jesus, like I haven't even really thought about kids yet. And now I have to make this decision. Um, I really wasn't happy with the decision or the options that they gave me. So, at this point, I was spending probably over $30,000 a year on my health care. Any specialist that you can think of that could help with my conditions, I saw them. Some of them were able to give me a little bit of relief for short periods of time, and my symptoms would go away, but then they'd come back and get worse. And yeah, by this time, I was planning my entire life around when my cycle would start, making sure that I'd be home in bed when it started. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be able to even drive home. And it felt like every month and every cycle that went by, I just kept getting weaker and weaker. Things really came to a head in the beginning of 2022. I was now at the point where I wasn't even fully recovering in between cycles. I had just spent more than a month in bed, and it was, excuse me, my throat was so sore. So I just spent a month in bed. It was really starting to wear on me mentally, and was now beginning to affect my digestion. So I was put on all these special diets. Had to completely cut out everything, gluten, sugar, dairy. I was down to just like a few vegetables and chicken being the only things that I could eat and was able to digest. It was a really, really bland, boring diet. So basically, as soon as I recovered from that time that I was laying in bed, I was like, I'm going to Costa Rica. I need to do something fun. So I went to Costa Rica and I almost didn't make it home. I got so incredibly sick from the tap water, and my body wasn't strong enough to handle it. I was only 30 years old at the time, and I thought, holy shit, I'm actually dying. My body's actually giving up on me. And I realized in that moment in the bathroom in Costa Rica that like something really drastic had to happen for my health. I was way too young to be experiencing the things that I was going through. My stomach was so inflamed and bloated that I actually looked like I was like 6 months pregnant, which is actually really ironic with what I was dealing with because they had just told me that I would never have children. So, yeah, the amount of pain and stress on my body was under, it was so intense that I used to clench my teeth and not realize how hard I was biting down until I could hear my teeth crack. So it was just my body was so wound up. It was crazy. Um, so in those few months after Costa Rica is when I really started seeking out some other healing options. And that's when I heard about Dr. Joe. I'd already been kind of familiar with him in the past. I'd watched his Rewired show during the COVID lockdown, and I thought that was life-changing. And I had seen his What the Bleep movie, and I just thought he was such a cool guy. I'd seen him, featured at different events, but I didn't realize he was holding his own events. Um, so yeah, it's pretty serendipitously. My ex was traveling the world, and I thought I'm gonna go somewhere too. And they had a Dallas retreat happening at the exact same time, and I just knew I had to be there. I booked the flight and the hotel before registration even opened. I didn't even know how quickly the tickets sold out or anything. I was like, I'm just going. So I picked the Dallas one 'cause, like I said, it perfectly aligned with timing. I was able to get a ticket, no problem. But the actual process of going to my first retreat was so difficult. It was pushing on all of my triggers, and my old self was like screaming, "Don't go." I was researching like all sorts of things, like, is the Dallas airport safe? Like, will I get trafficked? Like, I had a panic attack and almost bailed before leaving for the airport. This is actually going to be the first time I traveled alone anywhere on a plane. And I had to go to the airport the night before and stay at a hotel. And, I think about that night and actually like giggle about it because I was so scared going to the hotel. I was literally wearing all guys' clothes, hat on, hood up. I like ran into the hotel and I spent the entire night awake listening to people walking by my room because I was so scared. But when I got to my first event, it was like all of that went away. Even before the meditation started, it's like my soul knew as soon as I got to the Gaylord Hotel that I was in the right place. And I finally felt like I was in a safe space for like one of the first times in my life. So, yeah, during that first um, retreat, during the meditations, I kept thinking about Dr. Joe's story and how he healed his back by picturing it rebuilding vertebrae by vertebrae. He described this process in a lot of his documentaries where he would spend like hours a day rebuilding the vertebrae until he was healed. So during my meditations, I was kind of trying to use the same method. I was picturing different things like my brain growing new serotonin receptors, dumping serotonin, the release of oxytocins, genes turning on and off, anything that was going to regulate my system. I saw things getting pulled from my lower energy centers. I saw myself happy. I saw myself as a completely new person. And you think about these feelings that like Dr. Hemmel describes in the state of the brain that attendees match once they've gone to one of these events. That's kind of the method that I was using. Like, what does it feel like when you're like in total ecstasy?
One treat.
Oh. So yeah, I was just kind of in that true belief that I was a new person, even if it was a difficult meditation where I felt like my mind wandered the whole time. I always would get out of every meditation. I would text my best friend how I was a new woman, and kind of like re-solidify in my brain that I was now on a new path. I couldn't tell you if there was an exact moment where I was healed. But if I had to guess, it was during one of the coherence healings, or maybe the first two coherence healings. I was not a healee, I was actually just a healer. And in 2022, the way that the coherence healings used to be set up, we used to gather in the ballroom all together and do like a 15-minute meditation before walking into the healies. So I was standing there and standing there for 15 minutes was so hard. Like I felt like I was drunk. I almost couldn't stand. I was like, any second now, I'm gonna pass out. There was so much energy surging into my system. I felt completely drunk and dizzy. And when they opened the door, it's like I could barely even make it to my seat. I was swaying and walking into the ballroom. They told us to put our hands over our heart. I could not. I had to grip onto my chair and hold on so that I didn't fall over. But then when I sat down, it was the most amazing feeling. My heart completely exploded open, and it was a huge release of emotions. Probably the most emotions I've ever released in my life in that moment. It was amazing. I was, crying so hard. I was actually a little bit embarrassed because I opened my eyes and my whole pod was looking at me like, wow, that was a big moment for you. And I was like, what? This isn't about me. But it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? That was just the most amazing feeling. Um, so yeah, during that first retreat, I had probably some of the most deeply profound mystical experiences that I've ever had. Um, and although they weren't directly related to me healing, they were extremely profound in the sense that they needed to be part of the experience to show me just how connected I was to everyone and everything, and how the work I was doing here was so much bigger than myself. So yeah, like just a quick example, there's two different meditations that week where during the meditation I like woke up in what seemed to be someone else's dream. And then I was like looking around, looking down at my hand, I realized I didn't even have the same skin color anymore. I was embodying a completely different person. So I sat in that dream state for several minutes before Dr. Joe called us back at the end of the meditation. And then when we went to coffee break, I turned to talk to the person next to me randomly, and it was the person I was just embodying. And it was like I was like, oh my God. And like all my hair stood up. I wasn't sure. I was like, should I tell them or not? I ended up not telling them, but this happened two times throughout the week, two different people that I literally became during my meditation. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that experience because it was absolutely surreal and profound,
That was beautiful.
for sure. Definitely an experience I'll never forget. So yeah, I remember being somewhat nervous the morning that the retreat ended because I knew that my cycle would be starting any day. It actually started that morning, and I was like, oh gosh, how am I going to get home? I'm all the way in Texas, and I got to get back to Connecticut. Actually, it was Vermont at the time, so it was a big travel. Um, but, then I had the belief, I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And nothing ever happened that day. I got on the plane, I never had any pain, got home, still no pain. And I was amazed. I was like, how is this happening? Yeah. But yeah, not one day goes by where I don't feel blessed that my healing happened over the course of that week. I believe part of the reason was one of the most beautiful gifts the universe ever gave me. If it didn't happen that way and that fast, I may have given up. I feel super blessed that it happened in the way that it did. It did take my fibromyalgia another year to go away. In fact, at my second retreat, I was sitting on one of those special chairs because I was in so much pain. It was after the second retreat that I felt completely healed. But that's when something started to become very obvious to me. I wasn't able to sustain these elevated states when I returned home. And that's when some of the symptoms would start to come back up for me. The calmer and more in control of my emotions I became as I released the past and aligned with myself, the more unsafe and unhinged my marriage was becoming. And I began to realize I had spent years allowing abuse and helping my ex cover it up. So, I took Dr. Joe's teaching as guidance. There's always more love. I thought if I just loved him more and kept showing up and embodying internal peace and safety, then my vibration would eventually take root within him. And I lost myself in the process. And I realized that by not fully understanding how some people view this concept, I had allowed all my boundaries to fall, and I was enabling this person to continue to act in abusive and manipulative ways. So yeah, the universe is always guiding us if we want to see it. We just have to open our eyes. And I realized there was a huge mind-body connection in this moment. You can't just take care of your body without changing your mindset and your environment to complete your healing. So, your physical body can only take you so far, and your mind does the rest. And, I had to really face this concept of what do you do if someone knows how you view abundance as something that you can constantly give away, knowing it's coming back. And so you can keep giving it to them and they'll keep taking it. But like, what do you do when someone sees this strength in you and tries to exploit it? And I realized without the proper boundaries, your greatest strengths can be used against you as some of your greatest weaknesses. Um, so yeah, like about a year ago, the abuse was at an all-time high, and I knew I needed to find a safe space for myself. So I went to another retreat to clear my head. So this was now my third retreat. My ex did everything to prevent me from going, but I absolutely knew I needed to be there. He knew he was losing control over me, and that was making him really enraged. Um, so I think that, this third retreat was probably one of the most life-changing retreats, I would have to say. I had probably one of the most life-changing and like gut-wrenching meditations of my life. I saw my life like a movie reel with like all of the abusive things that happened to me in the relationship, kind of in like a timeline, a lot of which I had buried away to forget. And I started like scream crying during the meditation. It was like years of trauma just came pouring out of me all at once. And even more wild, as soon as we were released from that meditation, this random woman that was seated pretty close to me, she had no idea what was going on for me. Came up and asked me if it was okay to share a message she got. I said, yeah, of course. And she told me, the person you're with right now is not the person you're supposed to be with. And I absolutely lost it when she said that. And I started crying so hard. And me and this woman just sat there and held each other for a few minutes. It was like the most divine timing for that message to be delivered. It was like nail in the coffin for me in that relationship. I knew that meditation was like after that meditation, my marriage was over. Like there's no going back. And that one decision altered my life completely. A lot of really difficult things came from that transition period, but I recognize the entire separation and relationship was one of the biggest teachers and invitations for growth that I was ever given. So yeah, I would never kept pushing myself for growth if I didn't have such an obvious catalyst in my life that left me no other choice. I also had to learn to forgive because every moment that I spent being mad or betrayed by him was my precious energy for healing and growth being given away. And I couldn't do that anymore. And I had to understand that you can't be more loyal and loving to someone than you are to yourself because you risk your greatest strengths and your loyalty being used against you if it's the wrong person. So yeah, now I'm healthy, whole, calm. My reproductive system is in tip-top shape. I can have children if I want to. Um, I haven't been back to an actual doctor since before my first retreat. I usually go to one retreat a year as like a little bit of a reset for me. Um, and just one retreat is a fraction of what I was spending on my healthcare now. So I see it as a big win, even though it's an expensive retreat. And it's so much more fulfilling to my soul and life than going to the doctor, I have to say. Um,
And it's more truthful too.
right, yeah. I mean, the community and everything, you can't beat it. But, I've healed my relationship with my family. I've removed the people in my life that I've shrunk myself for. And I understand the impact of having people in your life that don't truly align with you. The Dr. Joe community is huge, and it's interwoven and connected in ways that are beyond comprehension. The guidance and the synchronicities I've experienced doing this work are absolutely insane. It's really a topic for another discussion because I could go on for days about the signs that have come into my life over the last few years. You just can't make this stuff up. But it now just feels like my entire life is being guided if I just open my eyes and look. Um, so yeah, I realized too, over the course of healing that sometimes you need to remove things and people from your life to make room for the things that truly align with you. And sometimes the things that are removed from your life are not always the things you want to let go of. But I always know that there's a divine plan for it all, and one being an invitation for growth, as hard as it may be. And so, yeah, Dr. Joe, he always says if you're not actively creating your own life, then you're living in the past and moving towards the same predictable future. And that's one of the lessons that I've really learned over this last year. I'll leave you guys with one final little story. I took Dr. Joe's abundance course in March, and it was during the same time that I was looking for a new place to live. I was within weeks of not having somewhere to live. So I was using his abundance meditations to picture a new house. And so I was like really, really detailedly picturing this kitchen in this house that had everything that suited my needs. But in real life, I couldn't find anywhere to live. I was nearly homeless at the time, and no one wanted to accept me and my three, actually I had four animals at the time. And I finally found one place that would accept me and all my animals. Nothing about it felt right, but it was the only place. Um, so I started the process of signing a lease with this landlord, and took him 2 weeks to send me over the lease. But pretty synchronistically, during these 2 weeks, my cousin purchased a home that she was looking to rent out and for income. Asked if I wanted to be the first tenant, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come look at it. It was a lot bigger than I needed, but she told me she'd cut me a deal. And when I went to go look at the house, I walked in the front door. There's the kitchen that I was picturing in my meditations. Like all of my hair stood up. It's like, yep, this is it. This is where I need to be. And ironically, over the next week, I discovered that the person that I was about to sign a lease with was a registered sex offender. So I dodged a huge bullet there because he was about to be my neighbor too. So feeling so blessed that I was able to avoid that with creation in my own mind.
There's a metaphor itself right there. See what happens when you allow. You would have got that if you just would have went down the old Rachel way. Wow, beautiful. Woo.
Exactly. So yeah, I think I'll end with that little story there. But yeah, I always like to remember that we live in the illusion that change takes time, but the reality is that change happens the moment you decide. You don't need more time, you just need a shift in being. And one decision ultimately creates for your path to unfold differently. My life now is so full of friends, love, creativity, pure happiness. I'm now experiencing levels of happiness I never thought were possible. It is such a beautiful blessing. I'm living the life that I always dreamed of. And I couldn't be more happy with where life has taken me, the people I've met, the experiences I've had, the good and the bad. I know the darkness I walked through was so I could hold the lights for others that will do the same. I'm so healthy now. My body is so strong and resilient. And I know I have the power to keep myself safe and healthy, and I'll help others to do the same. So I feel beyond blessed and I'll never stop the work. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's all that's all I really have for you. Thank you so much.
All right. That was so great. Holy shit.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you, Rachel. So anybody, please put your hand up if you want to share anything. No pressure. I'll just say again, it's when the common thread within every journey you hear is just understanding, respecting, and going through the process. The first thing Rachel said was she knew what she had to do in order to heal. And that was to fall on her sword metaphorically with everything that she went through. She's not a victim. She's not anything. It's really falling on that. And the clarity within how you spoke and said anything is you understand this is how it works. And that last thing you just said was such a powerful metaphor. Literally, this is how simple life is, Rachel. There's a house here with a sexual with a predator, and another house. If you just did old you would have been in that house, but you trusted the process, and look what happened. That is literally a metaphor for how everything works. Wow, good shit. Congratulations and thank you again. Let's
Thank
go. Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Ah, this is all you. Thank you so much. Wow. Again, all processes are the same. So yeah, anybody want to share anything? Please let me see your emoji hand. If not, I'm gonna tap you because I know a couple people that would have something to say.
I'll speak.
There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Um, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. There's a lot of overlap with stuff you were talking about with stuff that I have going on. And as I was listening to your story, like there were just some moments in there. I don't remember which ones exactly, but where I was like finding myself sort of like laughing and crying at the same time and like moving energy, like physically. So like just hearing your story is healing for me. Um, and that's all I want to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Thanks, Brooke. I'm glad you said that too. You just reminded me one thing also. Just again, this everything is case by case, but it's paying attention, being aware of everything. In the last 10 years, the amount of chemicals that have been created for you to utilize as a man or a woman, but skincare, which is more majority women, guys, these things hold chemicals that go in your body. And the chemicals that you put on your face, the morning and nighttime, the makeup, all that stuff, it's not meant to be on you. It's like chicken marinating with chemicals. I'll just say that's a route to the things that I've ran into with the people that I knew, as far as ex-girlfriends, family members, you know, any other. But guys, I'm just telling you, really reverse engineer. If you're running into physical issues, just understand there's stuff that you're putting in your body that could have something to do with that. Just throwing that out there. I just wanted to mention that too. Even if it's Karen. Karen, what's up?
So I want to add to that when you're done talking.
Yeah, no, that was it. It was just I felt it was relevant. Not sure if that's what Rachel dealt with or not, but I know within the body and the monthly issues, It also relates to Lyme and certain MS. But these chemicals that you're putting in your body were not put in your body 20 years ago. You know, it's like you had pimples at 14, then you stop. Now all of a sudden, skincare you do until you're 80. Like what the like now it's a business model to keep you poisoned. And you know, it's just being aware of what you're putting in your body. Really pay attention to that because it is mind, body, and spirit. Okay, your spirit can take over and guide you, but it's gonna, you know, you got to meet it in the middle. Uh, Karen, then Kathleen.
So I've been doing research on what you wrap your body in, and I've been removing a lot of toxic clothes from my wardrobe lately and
Correct.
making better choices of what I put on my body. So much is poisoned that we put it on our bodies.
Thank you for saying that. Lululemon, that shit causes cancer. It's a fact. You just look at the products of what you're putting in your body and just think of chicken marinated. Think of suntan lotion in the sun. You know, things like that. It's just really just that's it. That's it. Not to kind of take over the situation.
So
Kathleen.
Rachel,
Oh, sorry,
what
Rachel. Karen, then Rachel. Yep.
So I knew you from Captiva, and you're such a beautiful soul, but I didn't know your whole story, and what you went through was incredible. And I'm so glad you found the strength to stay at a Dr. Joe retreat and find yourself, because you're so much better than anybody you've that has caused this pain and this illness for you. And I'm so glad to have met you.
Thank you, Karen. That is really, really sweet and special for you to share. I appreciate that. And I'm really glad I kept up with it too. And yeah, back to the products. Yeah, I had to eliminate a lot of those products from my life. I used to be really, really into all of the, they marketed it right to you. You fall right into them, like, oh, you need this and this and that. And before you know it, you're just covering yourself in all of these fragrances and stuff every day. So yeah, I've learned to live with a lot of those things. I do know now, like, I'm not great, like, I'm not like 100%. Like, I'll still put polyester on, like clothing. But I'm trying to take the same approach that Dr. Joe says with like fluoride and toothpaste. It's like I know that my meditations help me mitigate any toxic chemical that's coming into my body. So I try to limit how much of an exposure I get, and the rest I know my body will take care of.
Beautiful. Karen, thank you so much. You're amazing. I'll say with the fluoride thing, if you cut that out, just watch how much you're going to go to the moon. If that's in your toothpaste. Um, let's see. Karen, you're incredible. Kathleen, K K K K K K K to K.
Yeah, I love what Brooke said about feeling energy moving in her as you were telling your story. Because I know at Captiva, I mean, I just looked at you and all of this authenticity and joy that I saw in you was getting activated in me, just watching you be. And I was just like, what, didn't even know how to express to you how beautiful you are and how beautiful the experience of what was getting activated in me was. And you're just such a shining light, and I just love you.
Oh, Kathleen, Karen, also, who else was it? Oh, it was someone said, oh, it was Mary Claire in the beginning of the call. Sorry. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much for saying these things. I feel so blessed to have met you guys. Such wonderful souls, and for you guys to be able to say something so sweet is just says something about who you guys are as well.
Thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, I agree. In hearing all this and just how Rachael presented herself in a brand new community and just jump right in, just being herself, not trying to do anything else, but just be herself. Really, really special. Mary Claire.
Embodies who she is, because
Yeah,
she's
there
part
you
of
go.
us.
Embodies
Her
who she
energy.
is. There you
This
go.
is where her home is. This is where she's supposed to be.
And you don't like it? Tough shit, motherfucker.
Oh, wait, there's the kitchen.
Oh,
There it
let's
is.
go. Let's go. All right.
Sorry, I have to plug in, so don't mind me moving around. I'm about to
No,
go.
that's great. There's the kitchen. Open kitchen. Let's go.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Mary Claire.
Ah, wow, Rachel. Um, First of all, thank you so much. And if you guys have, any of you have met Rachael in person, she just glows with joy. So this story is even more powerful when you experience her in person. Um, so much wisdom, Rachael. And I remember in Captiva when you shared a little bit of your story, there's just such a thread in so many of women's lives, um, of toxic relationships. And I think you said something about how like our greatest strength can become our greatest weakness because people can prey upon things and exploit these beautiful qualities that we're born into the earth with.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced that too, and it's been a long road. And just the powerful message about, as a health coach, understanding that's not just the food that we take in, it's not just the chemicals we're putting in our body, it's the people and the situations that we allow ourselves to be in for
Mm-hmm.
so long. And that I just love the way you talked about how these things, when we look back at them, become our wisdom, and that they were a catalyst for to wake us up and to change us, and they become one of the biggest blessings in our lives. It's the paradox of that, right?
Yes.
The pain that we go through, so only love can cut through the shadows, and you have so much love for life, and we have so much love for you. And I just, this community, it helps us cut through the shadows. And also the interconnectedness that you talked about. Like, I remember when you showed up at Captiva and you hugged Avis, you're like, I know you. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. Because that was Avis's and I's first retreat was Dallas, and you were there, and I'm finding out Mario was there. And I think
Oh,
I I don't, yeah, I mean, there's so many of us that we didn't even know each other was there. It's just so powerful. So powerful. So I
Definitely.
love you so much, honey, and just what a story. And agree with Brooke and Karen, and your the way that you share and just your energy was just so heart opening as the tears streamed down my face. And yeah, our lives become like, I know I keep going on. You talked about our lives becoming like a movie reel, like you start seeing that, like in the retreat you did. But I'm sitting here watching you being in this moment, and I'm watching Rupita Mir walking along the bay behind my house. What the hell's going we're like we're
we're living in
making
love.
our lives are becoming so this magical beauty, and it's just going to get better and better and better and better. So I love you guys.
Oh, Mary.
Love you too, Mary Claire. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Woo,
Love you.
Love you.
incredible. I agree 100% with everything you just felt and expressed. Beautiful. Side note with the connecting dots thing, how you just said, uh, really cool. Heather was just at Thor's 5K later to learn that Marion met Heather at the 5K, not knowing, and Heather knows Mario, and not knowing that Marion and Mario know each other. And Marion knowing Heather, and Marion showing her story with Heather, not knowing that that's the same exact story as Mario's story that he's sharing. And they're going to bump into that pretty shortly. Like, come on, this is what it's all about. And then you just said, as you said, Rupina, just walking by your house right now. Just oh, look, it's Rupina.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Rupina, she lives in Texas, and just all the synchronicities happen. She needs to study for some exams, and she's going to be spending 6 weeks with me, and we're just having a glorious time together. Just such a blessing. So
Beautiful. And Rupina was a guest on a Sunday Journeys too, just for people who are going to be watching this. Thank you, Mary Claire. All right, one of the most talented ukulele players I know, Arsa.
She is indeed.
You guys make me blush. So Rachel, I've known you like a sister since Captiva, and I mean, I've heard you share your story so many times, and I just I'm still having a moment, just feeling so moved by everything you've been sharing today. Embodiment is really what describes you because you were also sharing things that you took from Dr. Joe, like hearing them, it's like, but just seeing you embody them is just so healing. Like, I really related. I was taking notes. So, um, when you said money is the one of the lowest frequencies of motivation, and that's how you felt at your job, it had me think like, I wonder if that's why I'm feeling low making art because money's the motivation again.
Mm.
Yeah, and then just what you did with choosing the house you did. I am so glad you trusted yourself and you got the house you wanted and like you spared yourself from a very dangerous situation.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just so honored that to call you one of my dearest friends. I know we haven't laughed at all since we got together. Yeah,
Fire!
just Kate, her and I have been together. She didn't laugh at all, you know. I was joking.
So boring.
Stop taking life so seriously, you three.
I know. Kate. Don't get us started, Arsa.
I have my mute button on Kate just in case. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay, I'll stop. I won't make you guys laugh. I'll try, but and I just want to point out I love what Mary Claire said about what you're putting in your body. Like, just my mind goes straight to food or makeup or I guess clothes nowadays. What your clothes are made of, and but it was just so profound what Mary Claire said about what people you're also letting into you too. And I can very much relate, Rachel, about removing people in my life who just were not good for me anymore, or I just wasn't aligned with. I love you, sister. I
I
just
love you too. Thank you for sharing that. You're wonderful. I enjoy all the laughs that we have together. And I'm glad that even though you've heard my story a few times, you still were able to learn something new.
So you're going to share your story a lot. That's for sure. I guarantee that story is going to be told and heard a lot more. That's for sure.
just
Thank
keep sharing it. Like you are just so healing. You really are.
Thank you. I really, really deeply appreciate that.
Oh, thanks, Arsa.
Thank you, Robbie.
All right, brother Sean. Side note, Sean. Looks like he had a party last night. I guarantee that's just how Sean has his house all the time. He just has a party every night.
That's right. This was my oldest just turned 18. And so we
Oh,
had some
happy birthday.
decorations going. Yeah.
Awesome.
I want to thank you, Rachel and Arsa, um, and Kate for giving me the pleasure of sleeping in the middle of giggles, right? Like y'all would laugh through the night and I'm set up on the deck above sleeping, and I just got to soak all that up. It's awesome. It's amazing. There's my little hey, that was so fun and cool. Now that aside, um, Rachel, that authenticity, your ability to be not only unfazed by the the life you've lived, so to speak, right? Like if you were at one point a victim, um, and you're certainly no longer that. Uh, it's so much so that I think what people can't help but notice is just how authentically you own it all and are greater for it. Like you have this unspoken power that's just ready, and you choose to laugh, and it comes out in that way. It's beautiful. Thank you for for your for walking this path and alchemizing everything you have and sharing that with all of us. Uh, Very cool to get to know you more. There's all kinds of stuff that I didn't know, right? There's 20 of us bouncing around all over the place, and so I'm discovering like, oh my God, I was sitting next to Buddha half the time. I didn't even know it. This is sweet. Um, like so cool. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Um, you you got specific and you got clear on what the kitchen was going to look like in the home that you were going to live in. And you are who you are today, and that's not who you used to be. And so if we could say that's where we're the magnet, you know how when you try to push two of the same pole together, it's not going to happen. It's not, there's no docking that's possible. It's going to repel. Do you feel like the way the 2 weeks unfolded, where you were never going to wind up because you're not that person anymore, was just there to like totally demonstrate, like, check it out. You couldn't have gone there even if it was the last place on earth because you're not that person. Does it feel like that could have been like, can you feel that in you as like, of course you weren't going to wind up in that place where that guy was dragging his feet with your uh, application and his creepiness.
Yeah, I mean, I always think, lessons bring up a few different feelings, and one is your old self, like how your old self would examine it, and that's part of the life lesson, right? You're being asked to examine things from a different set of eyes and different perspectives. And there is that neural pathway still there for, I think, a lot of us, even after we move away from it, right? It can be reactivated again. So it takes a lot of conscious effort, and intention to put your focus and energy on what you actually do want and the feelings you do want to feel. And just recognizing that, we are humans with a whole range of emotions. Like these emotions are going to come up, but not attaching to the emotions, the lack, and the things that push you farther away from the direction that you're headed in. And sometimes that's easier said than done, right? But it's like a constant revision and re-examining of your thoughts and catching yourself in the act and redirecting it back towards those things. And like during that process of finding the house, there was a lot of doubt. I was feeling so like almost a little bit betrayed because I was living at a family's house and they kind of kicked me out. And there was a lot of things coming up for me, like lack feelings.
Mm,
Like, oh, I have all these animals now. Like my ex couldn't even take any animals, but like there was all these things that I was thinking that were really lack, but I really had to be conscious with myself and keep redirect. Basically, I kept redirecting my thought back to this kitchen
mm,
and back and like really sitting in the feeling of like actually being in that kitchen. Like I was picturing myself washing dishes, so like feeling the water on my hands and like picturing everything, all of the senses that I would have felt in the kitchen and in that scenario. And really trying to like fill my mind with those thoughts so that there wasn't room for anything else. Does that answer your question?
yes, I love what you just illuminated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, Thor. Sorry. All right, Thor.
Um, sorry, spasm. Body spasm. Perfect timing. Uh, I'm trying to winnow down what I want to say because I am so grateful that I just got to meet you during this 5K weekend and got to hang out with you. And not to get anything started, but the three of you, your laughter brought so much joy into my house and so much happiness into my house that these walls still radiate from what you guys laughed. And I didn't know, I forgot that three people could laugh that much. I forgot that I could laugh that much. I forgot just watching you guys laugh, watching you dance, Rachel. I told you this, I think, when we were having dinner Monday. It's like watching you, I got to experience my body moving because I watched you move and I felt your joy. And knowing what you've gone through, I mean, I didn't know what you've gone through until today, the depth of it. I knew there was stuff, but you just explained stuff at a whole different level. And watching you move, knowing that you've gone through what you've gone through, brings me hope, brings me a lot of hope because everybody on this screen has gone through something. And we now get to watch Rachel dance and laugh and be joyous because that's what life has to offer. And you found that. And I'm so proud of you. Oof, so proud of you for being strong and for going through what you went through. I mean, I can't imagine. I have no idea the pain that you've been through physically. And I can't imagine the emotional pain, the emotional strain because I've had my own story. And so to see you radiate the way you radiate and to see you share energy the way you share energy. And when we had the healing on Sunday here and you played the songs and you moderated that so beautifully because you are so beautiful and you are healed. And I'm beyond words grateful to have met you, to have met the three of you, and to have the three of you laughing in my house. And I said this many times that I've journaled about having Dr. Joe people in my house. But even when I journaled about that, I didn't journal that much laughter and that much love and that much joy. And to see the three of you interact like sisters who have known each other for lifetimes, and I know you have known each other for lifetimes, it just gives me a lot of hope for the laughter that I haven't felt for a long time, laughter that has been buried for a long time. And I just thank you. I thank you for being you, and I thank you for showing up. And the question I do have for you is, with all the things that we're hit with every day, all the things that could trigger us, and as we talked about, my favorite Dr. Joe quote is, when you take the emotional charge out of a memory, it becomes wisdom. And you are so wise right now. You are so wise in the way you speak and how much you've taken out the emotional charge of your situation. And that is very inspiring. So how do you do it on a day-to-day basis? What do you do to keep yourself going and laughing? And I mean, besides calling Arsa and Kate, that's a pretty much go-to laughter, I think. But what do you do on a day-to-day basis now?
Thank you for that, Thor. That was beautiful. So, I mean, I will humbly admit there's still days that I'm really down in the dumps, right? Like I said, there's a whole range of emotions that's supposed to be felt. Um, yeah, thank God for Kate and Arsa because they have helped me through some things in the recent past. I'm very grateful for them, and their laughter carries me through a lot of the time as well. But yeah, kind of back to like what I was saying to Sean, the shit sandwiches as Robbie calls them, they never stop coming, right? And even Dr. Joe says this, and I've heard other spiritual leaders saying this, like the farther you go down the journey, the harder the struggles may become because you have the capacity and the strength now to deal with these struggles that you wouldn't have before. Um, so, I'm constantly reminding myself that life isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. So that's kind of like my guiding motto, right? Like, all of these struggles are aligning me better with something that's for my highest self and for the direction that I'm heading in. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've noticed that, I need my daily maintenance of meditation and breath work. That's kind of like my calming guiding factor. And I will also admit there's days that I miss my meditation and breath work. Um, but it's really now I've kind of directed my mind to knowing that that is what is healing. So if I find myself feeling out of sorts or going into those old mindsets, I doubled down on all of those things. Like, I know it's the most important thing in my life. If life is a struggle, then the most important thing is to be taking care of myself. And, like that also meant redefining what self-care is. We've had like self-care kind of marketed to us in the last, like 5, 10 years is like buy this product and like go take a bubble bath, which bubble baths are great, but it's more about being intentional about the stuff that you're doing and making those decisions to realign yourself with the purpose and the direction that you're going in.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say too, thank you so much for what you said about me, Kate, and Arsa's laughter. I think, oh, that's Tina. Um, the world is your mirror, is another thing that I always believe, right? So things and people that come into your life are a direct reflection of that. So, I met Kate and Arsa and actually most of you on the call just a few months ago. And, arriving and leaving that trip in Captiva was really a huge indication to me that I was at a new vibration because of the people that I was now attracting into my life and the friends that I now had. And I couldn't be any more happy with, having you all in my life now. It feels so full and rewarding. And that's one thing that I didn't include in my story was my whole my whole dance thing. So I think I was talking to Thor about this last weekend, but I did after all of my traumas from my childhood, I was so just stuck and not moving. Like if I barely ever went to live music, but if I did go to somewhere where music was playing, I did not dance. Like I was just hoping you could park me in the corner and not like look at me or like pay any attention to me at all. And it wasn't until my second retreat, Dr. Joe retreat, watching people on the dance floor that I was like, I could do that. I'm gonna go do that. And I just like literally went up and I let go and I was just dancing all over the place. And like, I shit you not, like 5, 10 people walked up to me after like throughout the week and they're like, I saw you out there. You're like a dancing queen. You're a good dancer. And I was like, oh, wow. So, like, one of the first things I did after my divorce was I signed up for a dance class. And that community of women that I found there and the self-expression and the confidence and the self-love, the self-care that I found through dance is completely unmatched. So it's like between meditation and dance, those are my true medicine, and I'll never stop doing either one of them. It's the dance and meditation have a huge place in my heart in my life, and yeah, if you've ever seen me at any of these getaways, you'll know like as soon as music goes on, I don't stop dancing. I think it's such a blessing to be able to move your body and express yourself through music. I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can.
Let's go.
Mm.
Woo!
One more question. So, how well did you dance at the wedding last night? Did you go crazy?
Oh, I went crazy.
Hey, good.
I was the center of the dance floor as always. Try not to take any attention away from the bride, of course, but
Good for you.
yeah, I've always got people cheering me on and stuff, so
Did you bring a Theragun with you by any chance or no?
no, you would think
No.
so because I'm a horse today, but no, I save all my Theragun expression for you guys.
Let's go. Yeah. All right. This is great. Yeah. And again, it's release, expression, creative motion. I never danced until Dr. Joe either. And it didn't make sense to me then because I was on a different vibration and you understand it. But again, it's all preference, right? Like you don't like dancing, that's fine too. Express yourself another way. But yeah, that feeling that you feel within dance is just life. It's beautiful. All right. Last but not least, Kate, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, hopefully I can get through this. Rachel, my sister, thank you so much for sharing your story today. And Robby, thank you for creating this platform for all of us to come together. I met a lot of you just a few months ago, and it still astounds me in the 3D world. We only known each other a few months. It's so beautiful. And like I said, I'm Captiva. Like I've never felt more authentic than how I felt that week with all of you. And it just keeps growing and expanding. And it's so beautiful. And like Arsa, I took notes too. And you said something, Rachel, that really resonated with me, because since I got back, I'm kind of working through a situation. I feel like I'm in a crossroads. And you said it was an invitation for growth. And that's really what I needed to hear this morning. So thank you for that. Like, you never know when you join these stories, how just something just really touches you. And like, that's what I needed to hear. So thank you, my girl. And as much as we laugh, it's so true. And it's us. I'm not like it's a disclaimer, but we also cry a lot too, the three of us. Like, we're just such a good support system, you know, just out of the blue. Like, hey, when you guys talk to me, we'll just hop on the phone and then we conference the other one in, or just we have our one-offs. And it's just such a beautiful relationship. And Rachel, you're just such a force and such an inspiration for everybody. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life and call you my sister. And I'm so grateful for everybody in this community. It's just such a real connection. That's it. I love you guys.
Woo.
Thanks, Rach.
I love you too, Kate. Y'all are gonna make me cry. I'm trying so hard not to cry with all these wonderful things you all are saying about me. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you and everything that you've all said. It will never be forgotten. It's felt very deeply in my heart.
Woo. Let's go. I think thank you everybody for being on the call. Wilbert, by the way, good to see you, brother. I think it's cool how underlining things get created through these calls. And I think one of the coolest things that I just relate to what Rachel said at the beginning, but also what Kate just said, and then little things that Kathleen, Mary Claire, Arsa, Karen, Dora, everybody said, and Sean, was because I don't, it's not even a question, I guess it's a statement. It was going to be a question, is this is who we've always been, right? Like, Kate, what you just said, all you were doing was being yourself, right? That's all we were doing. It's like we found this opportunity to be ourselves. Like my big moment in Niagara Falls, which Rachel mentioned her big moment, which reminded me of this, is it was just like, you know, picture one of those blankets you get put on a fire, right? Like they throw that big towel on you. That's all that negativity and weight that you feel on you. You always know who you are, right? Then it got taken off, and then people are so, wow, you're so different. And then I'm saying in my head, I'm just being myself. And then you quickly realize, holy shit, I haven't expressed myself as myself ever. And we're finally allowed to express ourselves, not allowed to, but we just realize we're expressing ourselves as ourselves. And that's it. That's it. And it's a beautiful thing. So Rachel, thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your story that can relate to so many people, man or woman, right? Like the process of what you spoke about. And just the things that a lot of people in this room could relate to. So beautiful. Thank you everybody for being here. And yeah, hey Wilbur, ooh, 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 ooh. Is that a blue note behind your head? Can you read that, or is that a window? That's something.
I'm somewhere else.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got a clean room. What's going on here? It was laundry day. All right. But great seeing you, bro.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, great. Everybody, thanks for hopping on the call. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. From Kathleen, sorry, Catherine just wrote, actually, you know what? I think a couple people wrote stuff, so let me read it. Miguel said, thank you, Rachel. I'm thankful for your willingness to share your story. Big hugs and love to everybody. Tears are so cleansing and liberating, from Mary Claire. From Catherine, what a beautiful call. Thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your story. Thank you, everyone, for all you all shared. Such an amazing community. We are all so fortunate to be here together. Love you all. And on that note, let's have a beautiful day. I'll see everybody at 3:31 a.m. Eastern time. Cool. All right, bet. See you then. And all right, guys, have a great day. And let's go off. Let's just ride the day off this energy that Rachel just, the knowingness of celebration.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you all. Thank you all for your wonderful words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Thanks for coming to listen.
Let's go. We don't do this because we have to. We do this because we want to, because we know
we have to.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Love you
Beautiful
guys.
souls you all are. Love you.
We're so cool.